conservative life on Mars because we are living in strange, strange times. I want to have a rundown of the story that's making the rounds right now about the Detroit mother, 29-year-old Tatiana Williams. She tragically lost a precious 9-year-old little boy and a 2-year-old little girl due to freezing temperatures. It's believed that they perished from hypothermia because they were living in a van, one of these little minivans, and they were parked in a casino parking lot in Detroit. Now, I'm just going to be blunt. I'm sorry, believe me, I'm sorry, but some of her story just doesn't add up for me. So I just want to put into context a few things. And believe me, if you think I got it wrong or you've heard otherwise, please let me know, because I've watched several videos of hers, and some of the stories are a little conflicting, but I want to get down to the nitty gritty. And what I fear what's going to happen is we're going to find out that there's more to this story than just her crying or she really doesn't even have a lot of tears on TV for me, but people grieve differently. And we as a people, or everything that's happening right now, we need to start having these uncomfortable conversations about young ladies and women having multiple kids, and there's no partner or husband around, and you barely have a job, you barely have a place to live in, but somehow you wind up getting pregnant. And there's just so many different ways that you could do birth control, if not abstinence. That conversation needs to start happening. And this story may start this out. So, let's just go ahead and get started with this. Okay, from my recollection, from what I read, in that minivan, there were at least 8 people in that van. Or 7 to 8 people in that van. One would be Tatiana herself. She's 28, 29. Her mother, or the grandmother, who is 49 years old, so that's 2 adults. Now you have 2 siblings of Tatiana that are 17 years old and 13 years old. If I have those relations wrong, just please let me know. And then you have the 4 kids that are in the car. You have the 9-year-old that sadly passed away. You have the 2-year-old that sadly passed away. Then you have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. Let's put this all in perspective. Tatiana is only 28, 29 years old. Still, here you have 4 kids. That's a lot of kids. That is a lot of kids for under 30 years of age. So I'm just curious what was happening with that. And then you have the mother, who is 49 years old, with a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old. And these are supposed to be related to Tatiana as being a brother or sister. Their descriptions or details have not been released, or I haven't been able to find out. But still. And you have 2 adults with no jobs. And grandma may not be getting a disability check or social security check or something. None of these people have any kind of checks coming in, which I'm finding interesting. Or there is a part where she kept saying that the kids didn't want for anything. They were well fed. They had everything they needed. She did everything right. But she didn't have enough money for gas to put in the vehicle to keep the heat running throughout the night. So, again, these are some of the details that I would really be interested in right now. I know some folks are not going to like this. Well, she lost 2 kids. And you know what? Maybe if she had taken care of these things, these kids would still be here. So, I mean, again, these are uncomfortable questions that need to be asked at some point in time. Now, it is stated that Tatiana did reach out to Detroit Services for Homelessness back in November, and she reached out several times, but there wasn't any uh, reciprocation on the city of Detroit to come out and check out her situation afterwards. So Detroit did drop the ball on that. But then again, if you're living in your vehicle with 8 people, you need to be calling on the phone every 5 minutes. Look, what's up? Or park your car outside of the state agency. Look, I'm out here with this and that. What's the deal with this? Again, you can also call your congressman or your alderman, whatever they call it out in Detroit. Look, I'm homeless. What can we do here? This agency won't contact me. I've had to do this before a few times for disability. The disability people didn't call me. Can you call them? And that's their job because you elected them. They want to help you out. As long as you're in their district, they can help you out. That's something y'all need to know. Now, another question is, now she's surrounding herself with family members. Suddenly all these family members have popped up. Where the hell were they beforehand? This is a question, again, was between the mother, the grandmother, and the mother. No, there weren't any additional relatives to help out. Now, she did say that people didn't want to have a bunch of kids around them, which kind of goes back to, why are you having so many kids and you don't have a partner, you're not married, or anything of the sort. Now, there is a question that this gentleman that has popped up, who seems to be getting a brunt of a lot of blame, is that he is the father of 3 of her kids. So then there's a father that's out there. Where is he at? I mean, at least he could do is pick up his own kid and run off and possibly give her $20 for gas. Same thing could happen with this other guy. How come you didn't want them in your house? Okay, fine. Well, how come you couldn't give them $100 for gas or $100 for a hotel room? I mean, there's a lot of questions here that I just believe are not being asked, because these are hard questions to really think about and to want to ask somebody right now. Now, another question that really needs to be asked is, because this has been reported too, is that the baby, the 2-year-old, was only wearing like a t-shirt and a pull-up, which is a diaper. And the young boy, the 9-year-old, was wearing joggers, so I'm assuming this is a sweatpants type of thing. But if you know that you all are staying in the car and the gas may run out, why aren't they layering up with 2 or 3 pieces of clothing? I just got through with the trip to Washington, D.C. when it was 20 degrees outside. And my hotel room that I was staying in did not have the best heat. I was underneath, I think, about 2 comforters, and I had several layers of clothes on me when I went to sleep, and I was in a hotel room. That's another story. So, again, here, I'm just wondering, what was the deal with this? I would want to know what also were the events that led up to this particular night. How much money did you have? Did you try to seek shelter again? Maybe could you stay in a, like one of these 24-hour places, just house up there? Or, could you have extra blankets or so forth? What type of housing were you in 3 months ago as compared to right now? I mean, there's just a lot of questions here. And she said that she was a CNA, which is like a medical tech of some sort. So I would think that being in a job like that, you see people that are homeless or really living on the edge, and you kind of know where these things are. especially being homeless for 3 months and you're saying these kids didn't want for anything, they were well fed. To me, this is just the same rhetoric that any parent would say. They had Nintendo, they had electronics, they had this. Maybe if you sold the electronics, then you might have had more gas, and just explain to the kids, look, your father's going to get it for you, or something along these lines. There's just so many questions here to ask, and this is not really to blame. The kids have passed away, like the father said. They have passed away, sadly, and, we grieve for them. And there's no real point into blaming, but there are some uncomfortable conversations that need to be had in this situation that should be had and should be a teaching lesson for other women that might be potentially going through the same thing. Now, I also think it is important to note here that Detroit is not a sanctuary city. It is not a sanctuary city. However, if you are an immigrant and you do go to Detroit, they do have some freebies to offer these folks. So this isn't like Chicago where they just have an onslaught of illegal aliens and immigrants crossing into there, but Detroit does offer some type of benefits for those kind of people. So the question again would be for the city of Detroit, if you all are so happily giving different types of benefits to folks that are just bouncing in off the border, barely speaking English, and you're giving them, $500 gift cards to do what they need to do with, what happened with this young lady? That's another question to be asked. Okay, this is Conservative Life on Mars. We're living in strange times. Some of the information that I have, there could be some missteps, and as the time goes on and things become more clear, please let me know. I'm happy to correct anything, because a lot of this just doesn't make sense to someone who's really cherry picking at this as to the real reason why this woman could not seek shelter and was homeless, which is the problem we want to solve. Let me know what you think. You think I'm being overly critical? Am I blowing smoke or what?